Order, order. Questions to the Minister for the Cabinet Office. Chloe Smith.
Number 1, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, with permission, I will answer questions 1 and 7 together. The Government's new online electoral registration system has made it easier and quicker for everyone, particularly young people, to register to vote. The process now takes less time than boiling an egg. We are also working with groups such as Bite the Ballot on National Voter Registration Drive, an excellent initiative to persuade more people to register to vote, running for the whole of next week, that I will encourage everyone to get involved in, and British Youth Council, whose Make Your Mark ballot led to nearly 1 million young people voting across the UK and informed the Youth Parliament's debates in this chamber.
Chloe Smith.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I welcome the Minister's support of the National Voter Registration Drive next week, which last year helped nearly 500,000 young electors register to vote. Would he also support repeating last year's projection of an image of a ballot box onto the Elizabeth Tower, which, Mr. Speaker, I understand you are also a fan of, just as am I, and we need to persuade Westminster City Council to do so?
Well, Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend deserves top marks for creative marketing ideas, but after the Elizabeth Tower was used for unauthorised projections in the past, including some Australian cricketers and various bits of Gail Porter, I'm told the subject excites strong passions in Westminster Council and quite possibly the House authorities too. So I should probably urge her to discuss her proposals carefully with them first.
Pawsey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I recently visited Harris School in my constituency to talk to pupils there about the role of an MP, and I met some bright youngsters wanting to learn more about how Parliament works. Does the Minister agree with me that getting more public figures to go into schools to talk about their issues, to answer their questions, is a great way of engaging young people with the political process?
Mr. Speaker, I do. My honourable friend has set a great example and shown that public figures, even MPs, Mr. Speaker, can stimulate interest and engagement in democracy.
Nick Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I ask the Minister what further government or private sector databases his department is thinking of using in the future to boost registration amongst young people?
Well, Mr. Speaker, the honourable gentleman raised this point with me a little while ago, asking about, I think, credit reference agencies, amongst others. There are potentially other sources of data out there which we may want to look at. Some of them, of course, base a lot of their information on the electoral roll itself, so we need to make sure we aren't becoming circular. But if there are things that other people can add, then, of course, all sources of data are potentially ways to reduce the cost and improve the quality and the speed of our registration efforts.
Kirsty Blackman.
Thank you. During the 2014 Scottish independence referendum, a huge number of young people became politically active and politically engaged in Scotland. But this generation of 16 and 17-year-olds won't have the opportunity to vote in the EU referendum, although they'll have to live with the consequences for a lot longer than most people here. Why does this government not accept that the best way to encourage young people to vote is to actually give them a vote?
Well, Mr. Speaker, we have, since the general election, debated this particular question, I think 4 or 5 times, perhaps more, and have collectively decided against it with healthy majorities on every single occasion. So we can go over it again. I'm very happy to have further debates with the honourable lady as needed, but I think that we have made our position collectively as a House of Commons very plain.
Gloria De Piero.
Mr. Speaker, the Labour Party's initial analysis shows big drops in registered voters in many university towns. Canterbury down 13%, Cambridge and Dundee West both down 11% on last year. Some universities have enabled students to register to vote when they enrol, and all those have seen high levels of student registration. Will the government issue guidance to all Vice-Chancellors immediately, suggesting they adopt such a system for use this September?
Mr. Speaker, it's not quite that simple, but I completely sympathise with the honourable lady, that some of the new approaches which are being trialled in places around the country, different universities, are extremely promising, and we want to pursue those. In fact, I have a meeting with the honourable lady later on today, and perhaps we can discuss it further at that point.
Lucy Fraser.